With the recent hero augment changes and the buffs to Lulu, this comp has finally entered the meta, and in this video, I'll go through the build, what items and augments you take, how to play before level 5, during level 5 and 6, and then after level 6, what you do if you get contested, and then I'll go over some in-depth positioning with this comp. This is a slow roll comp, meaning we're rolling out to 50 gold every single turn for 3-star units. We will be slow rolling at level 5 with this board. Here we're running 3 supers to get a ton of damage from all the 3-stars that we will be hitting, and we are running hearts to stack up the damage of our team. You will slow roll with this board until you hit Lulu 3-star, and then you will go to level 6 and add in Sona for 4 hearts. Here you will try to 3-star your other 2 costs and GP if you didn't 3-star him already. Sometimes you don't slow roll here though and push level 8 instead, but I'll talk more about that in the contested section. At level 8 you have a couple of different options. 6 heart is a solid option if you have a strong frontline, but running Gadgeteen or something else based on your augments also works. It all comes down to how strong your frontline is, which we will talk about in the late game part of the video. The best hero augments for this comp are carry augments for Lulu or Lee Sin, but support augments for any of the other units can also work. Note that you have 4 rerolls now, so you should try to dig for the carry Lee Sin augment or the carry Lulu augments to get the most out of this comp. Lulu is our main carry, so we prioritize making items for her first. She has 2 core items. They are Gunblade and a mana generating item, which is Blue Buff or Sojin. Gunblade heals up Lulu and our frontline, which stalls the fight and allows us to get even more heart stacks and a lot more damage. A mana generating item is also core to make sure we can cast more often with Lulu as well. The third item wants to be a damage item. This can be Giant Slayer, JG, Deathcap, Guardbreaker, or a Gadgeteen item. Giant Slayer is great to get through tanks, and since we don't have great backline access with Lulu, this item makes sure that we can get through them. JG allows our spell to crit, which can bring an insane amount of damage with enough heart stacks. Deathcap gives us a ton of upfront damage, which allows us to be strong right as the fight begins, and Guardbreaker is great if there is a lot of shielding on the enemy teams. After making Lulu items, you want to make tank items for Lee Sin or Malphite. Which you pick depends on which you will 3-star, or if you have a carry hero augment for any of them. They both want generic tank items, so any of these items will be fine on them, although the S tier ones are obviously better. If you can make more items after that, try to build mana generating items on the other heart units like Sona, Soraka, and Yuumi. If you have an extra blue buff or 2, you will get a lot more damage quicker, which can be incredibly helpful and win you a lot of fights. If you get a spatula, you always want to make heart spat. This goes on Zoe and turns her into a mana printer, especially if you give her a blue buff as well. With this build, you want to play 6 hearts if possible. If not, it's still a ton of AP at just 4 hearts. Mascot Spat is also a decent option that goes on Lee Sin or another tank. You usually want to end up with 4 mascots in that case, but remember that Hard Zoe is way better and should be prioritized when you get a spatula. The best non-hero augments for this comp are AFK, Band of Thieves, Big Friend, Cybernetic Shell, Cybernetic Uplink, Electrocharge, Exiles, Featherweights, First Aid Kit, Heart or Emblem, Luden's Echo, Pandora's Items, Second Wind, Ancient Archives to try to get a Heart Emblem, Blue Battery, Jewel Lotus, Last Stand, Super's Heart, or Trade Sector. I mentioned a lot of augments there, and the best ones out of those are Jewel Lotus, Super's Heart, Heart Crest, Luden's Echo, First Aid Kit, and Blue Battery. If all that info was a lot to take in, then check out the cheat sheet for this comp. It's available for patrons and YouTube members. Here is the Corky cheat sheet from last set, so you know what to expect for the Lulu Reroll cheat sheet that is available right now. The carousel priority for this comp is Tier, Sword, Rod, then Chain. From there, we want to ideally hit units for our level 5 board as fast as possible, but other early game boards that also work are Gadgeteen, Heart, Admins, or 3 supers. During the early game, we slam any items we can that are good on Lulu or on our tanks, but don't worry too much about this, as we will likely be lost streaking in the early game, as we will not be leveling at all on stage 2. This is because we need to stay low level in order to have the highest chance of hitting 1-cost units. And at the Krugs round, you should have more direction towards a comp, and the general requirements to play Lulu Reroll is to have at least 1 mana generating item or Gunblade for Lulu already. On stage 3-1, you will still be level 4, and here you will roll down to 2-star most of your team, but especially Lulu and GP, and once you get back up to 50 gold, you will start slow rolling at level 5. Once you are level 5 with 50 gold or more, we start slow rolling, meaning we're rolling it out to 50 gold every single turn for 3-star units. Here is our 3-star priority. Lulu is the #1 priority, and Malphite and Lee Sin are also important to have a strong frontline. The rest of the units are nice to 3-star if we can, as we get more damage with our supers, but you can still win without them. You will be slow rolling until you hit Lulu 3-star, and once you hit her, you will level up to 6 unless you are really close to GP 3-star, meaning you have 7 or more. You also try to hit Malphite and Lee Sin 3-star at level 5, as you can likely hit a decent amount of them while slow rolling. Once you leveled up to 6, you keep slow rolling until you hit at least Malphite or Lee Sin 3-star. Hitting one of those is crucial to make sure we have a strong main tank. Once you hit all 3 stars you need, you push levels to hit the 4 and 5 cost units we need. At this point, you want to sell off the rest of the units you have on the bench that you don't need later, as it's very hard to hit 3-star 2 costs and 1 cost at level 8. The ideal goal is to be able to push all the way to level 8, where we will end up with a 6 heart board or a Gadgeteen board. Only play 6 hearts if you hit 3-star Malphite and Lee Sin, as you will not have enough frontline to let your backline stack up AP. If you lack frontline, you can drop down to 4 hearts and add in tanky threats like Zac, Cho'Gath, and Rammus, or you can play 3 Gadgeteen if you hit Nunu. Note that this comp is a lot stronger with a heart or mascot spat, as it allows you to get more frontline, which is crucial when our main win condition is to stall. If you are running Syndra late game, make sure to sell off non-important pairs. This is to make sure that Syndra only throws in tanks to buy us more time. The best units to throw in are these, with the top row being the best, the second row after that, and so on. But note that 2 stars will be stronger to throw in than 1 stars. If you get contested, what you do depends a little on how you get contested. You can get contested by somebody else trying to play the same comp, or you can get partially contested by somebody else playing supers. If you get partially contested, you generally want to not play supers and just play Gadgeteens, or you can pivot into Soraka or Zoe carry, and use Lulu as an item carrier for them. Both of these options are fine, but if you get full on contested with this comp, then you have to pivot, as this comp is not going to be strong enough to win out on its own, especially if you're struggling to hit 3-star units. But if you don't want to listen to any of my advice and you're still contesting, then you need to be farther ahead than your contester, and you also need to pay attention to how close they are to getting their 3 stars, as you have to roll down to hit before them if they're starting to get close. Let's first take a look at Lulu's spell. She casts at her current target, but her bolt keeps going. It works very similarly to Ahri's spell from set 3, which was 10 times more powerful if you positioned her correctly. Let's take a look at this situation. Here the enemy frontline will all find targets and walk until they're attacking one. In this case, they will wrap around the Malphite, as he is the closest unit. Here Lulu will target the top and left Nasus, but hit 3 in total with her spell. In other words, through positioning, we just 3x'd our damage output. So in general, we want Lulu in the back row and a tad bit to the left of our farthest frontline unit, which in this example is the Malphite. Now let's take a look at general positioning with this comp, which looks like this. Here we want to primarily keep Lulu and Syndra safe. We can also split up our frontline a bit more if needed to make sure enemy units don't wrap around on the left side. The main reason to position like this is to line up the Lulu with the Malphite, which is our outskirt tank in this case. Now let's move on to some in-depth examples. Against the first guy, the big threat is Misfortune. Here Echo and Alistar will wrap around the Malphite to increase Lulu's damage. We move our Lee Sin back a little to make Sejuani target GP and therefore make our Syndra and Lulu not get hit by our spell. We are also splitting up a little to make sure MF gets less value from her spell. Against the second guy, the big threat is Taliyah. We are making GP tank for Yuumi so she can hopefully deal damage to Taliyah. We are also spreading out to make sure Taliyah, Syndra, and Janna get less value from their spells. Against the third guy, the big threat is Samira. We need to clump a little more, as the sure shots on the left side can still deal a significant amount of damage with enough time. But we are making Yuumi snipe Samira, and also wrapping around the Malphite to make Lulu deal more damage and protecting our backline. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they are available for YouTube members and patrons, and links to those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, then join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.